What's up? Welcome, everybody, to Bobby's Web, where we teach businesses to be better online. As you can see, today's topic is all about Black Friday, what you're doing to get ready for it, the plans you're making, and what you're going to do after Black Friday to keep the momentum going. If you've reached this point in the year without a plan, now is the time to start that last minute scramble. Hopefully, you've been thinking about the holiday season for an extended period of time. But I've got 5 things today that are pretty critical for your success leading up to Black Friday. We're here on Monday evening. It's just after 7 o'clock Central. And we're just 4 days away now from one of the biggest sales days of the year. And now, of course, we roll into the weekend and then Cyber Monday as well. And then it's just full on pandemonium, right, through the end of the year. So now's a great time to not only be thinking about Black Friday, but thinking about your strategy and how it carries over from Black Friday through Cyber Monday, through the rest of the year, and then the momentum to get you through winter and into the spring. So we have 5 very specific tips to help you plan for this week. And the plan is to go live at 7 p.m. Central every day this week to help you get ready going into Black Friday. So by the time Thursday night rolls around, you're feeling extremely confident going into Friday morning at 4 a.m. or whatever, whenever everybody decides to get out and start being crazy. So let's kind of take a few steps back. As a business, if you're just getting started or you've been actively going for years, it doesn't really matter. Everything that we're going to talk about today is completely applicable. And if you're a marketing director or a business owner, you have an e-commerce shop, you've probably been doing some of this stuff anyways, or at the very least you should have. Anytime you have a sale, anytime there's a big event coming up, you're probably doing a lot of this work. But it's even more important leading up to this week, because for a lot of companies, close to 50%, sometimes a little bit less, sometimes a little bit more, happens during this peak season. Not just on Friday, of course, but throughout the holiday season in general. The fourth quarter of the year is kind of like the fourth quarter of a game. It's pretty critical. So how do you have a plan to make sure you're going to execute and finish a year strong and have that momentum to take you into the next year? So let's just get right into it here. We're going to talk about a few very specific things. Before we get started, if you're new here, please subscribe, turn on those notifications. That really helps us out a lot, and I'd appreciate that. As we dive in here with our very first thing, item number 1, got to have a plan. If you're here, you're probably thinking about having a plan, and if you don't have one, now's the time to start. Going into Black Friday is not just something you do lightly and scramble at the last minute. Now, we're 4 days away, but that doesn't mean it's too late. It's never too late to get started. You could do all this the night before if you really wanted, but now is the time to actively start putting things out there and also adjusting your website to make sure it's ready to handle the specificity of the traffic that you're sending to it. And we'll talk a little bit more about that here in a minute when we're talking about our target markets and some of those things. But first things first is you got to have a plan. Determine what you are going to focus on for your holiday season. So if you're having a big sale, say you're selling whatever, shoes, if shoes is your e-commerce store, then is there a specific set of shoes that you're after? Is there a specific brand or a specific item that you're trying to highlight and really sell more of? Think of something like Pareto's Law. Oftentimes, 80% of our sales come from something like 20% of our stock. So what is the item that you really want to be pushing during the holiday season? It could be a series of them. It could be gift baskets. It could be coupons. And you're probably saying, Bobby, I don't really care what I sell. It's just I want to sell. And that's totally relevant too. But let's get strategic here. Let's think very specifically about what you want to be selling and who you want to be selling to. We do a lot of that in multiple different pieces, right? We think about who is the target market for our very specific items. And if you've gotten this far too, you've probably already thought about, okay, what's the return on investment for very specific items? And then you know the target market associated with that. How do we highlight that on our site? How do we make sure that that is covered and that we're targeting the right people with the right items. It's meeting those two things, the right people with what we want. In our industry, and I talk to clients a lot about this, there's kind of where these two roads meet. There's what the user wants, and there's what you want to sell them or what you want to tell them. And in between, there's kind of this kind of gray area or this overlap. And that's really where the magic happens. So going back to our Pareto's law, we've got these items that we know we really want to highlight for Black Friday specifically, but also for the holiday season. You've already done the math. You know what your return on investment is per item. So what's the level of discount you can associate to any one of those items and still come out ahead? So if you're willing to take less of a profit on individual items or services, you need to do the math to know what's going to make it worth it for you and for your prospective audience. So that part over here that's coming to your site for the shoes, for the services, what are you highlighting and making special for them? Everybody's expecting a deal on Black Friday. There's no mistake about that, right? You go onto Amazon, you go onto Walmart, you go anywhere, and you're seeing discounts of whatever, 50, 60, 70%. So they're expecting that from you. So what are you highlighting for your target market to make special for them? And how do we highlight those things on the site and push them in that direction? What are the discounts you're willing to give that after a certain percentage of those sales is going to be worth it for you? So if you discount something by 50% and it kills a 50% of your profit on that one item, but you're selling 2 to 3 times as many, that's worth it, right? So part of having a plan is determining what those items are going to be, what you're willing to discount, or what services you're willing to discount. And here's a little tip too. It doesn't have to be right away. So if you're selling items, sure, you have an e-commerce store, discount items for now because people are shopping for the holidays, very specifically want something for themselves or to give as a gift. But if you're in the service-based business, think about these as an opportunity to kind of fill your backlog for winter, for the spring, or for this next year. And that could come in the form of coupons, of discounts, of gift certificates, whatever that may be. So if you have a lawn company, what a great opportunity. You might think that your service is dead and your business is dead during the winter months. Now's a great opportunity to use Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and holiday deals to fill up your backlog, especially for those first several weeks and on into the summer of this next year. A friend of mine owns a landscaping company, and he does this every single year. He'll do a discount of 25, 30, 50% on very particular services for landscaping, and he won't start taking the actual appointments until further on into the year. So March, April, May, June. So don't just get blinders on and think that everything has to be delivered right away just for the holiday season. Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and holidays in general are a great opportunity to start filling up your backlog for this next year. If you're thinking ahead, that is part of your plan, as part of your game plan. What can you do to finish the year strong? What's a service you can sell now? But also, how can you start filling up things for next year? That's all part of your plan. Part 2 of having a plan really comes down to how are you informing your audience of what you have? So if you're new to e-commerce or you have a new service business, how are you getting the word out? How are you telling people that you have this special going on? We've already determined what the special is, what we're willing to give up. So how do we inform our audience? Now we're talking about current and past people who've bought from you before. Those are your easiest sales, right? People who have already used your service or have already bought from you. How are you targeting them? What email campaigns are you setting up specifically for them? And that's actually one of the major things you can be doing right now is targeting your past clients and offering very special deals just to them. We know that the easiest sales we make are to past clients. So if that's our low-hanging fruit, how are we getting them to come back? What's special for them? Give them a special discount code on 1, 2, or 3 items that you set aside for them to get them to come back and buy for you and to recommend a friend. That's another thing to keep in mind is what is a referral-based system you can keep up during the holidays. So as we come into Friday, you don't just want somebody to buy from you once. You want to create lifetime value for those clients. And lifetime value translates into who they recommend and actually bring back to your site. So it's word of mouth that's extremely important as well. And if you're new, now's the time to really be hammering on your social media. It's relying on your friends and your family and using social media. If you have an ad spend, if you're lucky enough to have an ad budget, prices are going to be up right now. Cost per clicks are going to be higher because it's peak season. But that doesn't mean you can't really narrow down very specifically when, where, and how to place ads on Facebook, on Google, on Instagram, wherever your audience is, and really hone in on those new customers. If you have $100, $200 to spend in ads, now's the time to do it. I'd be placing those today. I'd be placing them tomorrow. And I'd be running some on Thursday night when people are starting to scramble and are looking and Googling Black Friday deals. Now's the time to take advantage of those. So you've got a two-pronged system. You've got existing client base, if you've been in business for a while. Have a special campaign set up for them. Emails, social media marketing. These are people who are already following you. So what are you doing to make your offering special just for them, to make them feel special? And then secondly is our new clients. What are you doing to attract and then convert them? So the biggest system that we talk about often, and I talk with the clients about this all the time if they're running e-commerce, is how do we attract and then convert, right? And then there's a retention piece on top of that as well. And we're going to talk about that here on one of these next slides. So that's number one. Have a plan. Schedule out very specifically who you're going to talk to and how you're going to talk to them. What are the deals that you're willing to offer site-wide or service-wide inside of your company? And then how do you target those very specifically to past clients via email lists and social? And then how do you attract new clients? And I would be doing that with Google Ads and social media ads very specifically right now. The other part of that is making sure your homepage and your website itself is set up for success. We're going to talk about that here in a minute. Have a plan, get ready to execute on it. Number two, one of the biggest things you can do, and I swear half of my conversations on a daily basis are around what we would call the end user, but it's your audience. Do you really know your audience? You probably know who's been coming and buying from you in the past. And if you're a new company, you're just thinking about this. You're just getting a lot of this stuff figured out. So you should be doing this anyways. You have to truly define who your products or services are for and what differentiates you in the market. So one of the things we always talk about internally is a primary, secondary, tertiary audiences. You really have three buckets that your target market is going to fall into. And for these purposes, for the most part, we're just concerned with our primary audience. Who are you really selling to, and how do you define who those people are? And I mean, how do you get very specific? One of the best things you can do is be solving a problem, right? So if you have whatever, your shoes are your product. What makes your shoes different? Why would they appeal to either a millennial or somebody that's older? If you have something like New Balance, those aren't marketed towards kids for the most part, right? They tend to skew a little bit older. They know who their target market is. So if you look at a New Balance commercial, they tend to skew a little bit older. Something like Nike or Under Armour, they have a very specific athletic target market that they're going after, and that ranges. Certainly it's a broad range for them because they are massive companies and they have multiple sets that they deal with, multiple sets of target markets inside of any one of those segments, right? So you have to be very specific about who they are. And in marketing, they would call this setting up your avatars. You'll hear them called all sorts of things, but really it's about defining your target market. Setting up your personas is another thing that you would hear. And we get very specific when we go through this sometimes. So you can give them a name. So Eric is 43 years old. He has an income of $65,000 a year, a wife and two kids. He lives on the East Coast and he's in finance. So is your shoe for Eric? And if it is, how do you talk to Eric? What kind of language does he use? What is he looking for when it comes to a shoe? He's looking for comfortability. Is he looking for something? Is he on his feet all day? Not so much. What is he using your product for? And what's the problem that it solves for him? The same is true with a service-based business. Let's go back to the lawn care example. If you have a lawn care company, who's your target market? So you're high end, you're landscaping, and your services cost however many thousands of dollars, whatever the price range is. So you need a higher end clientele who can afford your services on bi-weekly, weekly, or monthly basis, whatever it is. But you have to determine how you talk to those people and where they are. So in a service-based business, they're going to be in your area, in your zip codes, right? So think about where inside of those zip codes those people are and how you target those. On Facebook and Google, you can get very specific. You can get extremely granular with where and how your ads show. If you define those things outright, then it makes it a lot easier to talk to them. You make sure you're speaking their language. And once they come into your site, they'll feel like you're talking specifically to them. And that's what you want to be doing on your ads and what you want to be doing on your website. The last thing you want is for your target market to feel put off by the language that you're using. And that comes down to everything from text on a little Facebook or Google ad that you do, or a search ad, but also on your website. When you start talking about the actions that you're asking somebody to take, are you speaking the same language that they speak? Are you speaking it that way, the way that they talk about your product or service? There are a lot of tools you can use to dive deeper into this, and something like Google search terms and Google keyword search. There's a lot of research you can do demographically to determine if the people you're wanting to talk to are searching for terms the way that you have them laid out on your site. And what do I mean by that? Again, let's go back to the sneaker example. If I have a target market that is 50s and 60s, am I calling my shoes kicks? Am I using bold designs and really fancy bedazzled whatever on my shoes? Probably not. Maybe there's a niche market for those, but I would be very sure of that before I invest all my money in a shoe company if I was going that route. But you wouldn't call them kicks, like buy your kicks now. Probably not. You're going to say shop now. You're going to use very deliberate and kind of directorial language when you're asking somebody to make a purchase. So shop now, buy now. Very simple, very straightforward. And you're calling them shoes and the brand and the style that they are. But that's it. You're not getting crazy with the language because that's not how they talk about it. So there's lots of ways to do that research. You can go into Facebook and social medias, chat rooms and things like that too. There's lots of places that you can look to figure out how your target market and what language they're using to speak about your specific product or service. If you haven't already done this work, this isn't just specials for holiday. This is stuff you should be doing as basic groundwork for your websites, for your ad campaigns anyways. That's stuff you should generally be doing. All right, so knowing your audience is key. And the other thing I'll say about this is don't just target one audience. You're going to have several different target markets, even inside of your primary. So we've created that one persona, Eric, who's in his mid-40s, right? But that doesn't mean that's the only product we have. Therefore, that's probably not the only target market. Now, Eric's going to be interested in a variety of different things. But what about his wife or kids? Do you have anything specific to them? What about Eric's boss? How does he talk about his shoes or his landscaping? So you're going to have multiple target markets even inside of your primary. And this again kind of falls back into our Pareto's law aspect. So once you get into your secondary and tertiary audiences, think of things like partners, other competition, other noise that's in the market. But in our primary audience, how do we break that down into the 2, 3-ish, maybe 4 of the primary people that we want to be speaking to and talk directly to them every single time? Define who they are and learn how to talk to them. All right, number 3. One of the other most important things that we deal with on a daily basis, whether you really know it or not, or you call it this or not, is your calls to action. So your call to action on your website, it's a call to action on your ads. It lives and breathes as part of your brand voice that you're putting out into the world and how you speak about things. One of the misconceptions about websites and apps these days in general is that people are going to take all the time to read all the content that you put out. People don't read websites. Generally, they browse websites. So you want to set things up that make it very easy for them to get from A to B to C and convert as easily as possible. And that's true with your ads and it's true with your website. So how do we do that? We use very plain language. We use short, pithy sentences that are very directorial. Again, we're guiding them through a process. So at any given point, your call to action should be the main thing that your primary audience wants to do. Sneaker analogy, we have an e-commerce store. What do we want them to do? Buy. Buy now. Shop now. So if you're doing an ad that is very focused on Eric, your target market again, your primary audience, you've learned how he speaks about things. You learn what language he uses, which is just as important as the language he doesn't use. So you've structured your ads very simply to say things about your shoes the way that Eric would talk about your shoes, right? So we structure our calls to action that way. And the other super important thing about that is where you put them. I'm going to show you an example here of what I mean by that. And we can use our friends at Amazon for this. It's the only one listening right now anyway, so edit that out later. All right, let's look at the Amazon homepage here. There's a lot going on here, but Amazon is the largest retailer, obviously online. So there are a lot of calls to action here. There's a lot of things they're asking you to do, but let's look a little bit closer. They know who their target market is, right? And I'm not signed in here, so you're getting a very general view of Amazon in this case. So here's Amazon's homepage without me signed in. You're seeing how busy it is, how many different asks there are, but this is all also set out extremely strategically. This is very specific. What are our main calls to action here? What does everybody want to do when they get to Amazon? Well, inherently, they're going to sign in. And this is very plain language. Now, there's lots of different things under sign in, but one of the main actions that they want you to do is they want you to be a part of Amazon. So even if you go through the process, you find what you want and you're not signed in, they're going to prompt you to create an account. They need more accounts because once you go into the Amazon world, like most of us, you probably end up kind of staying there. You're going to buy things from Amazon once you sign up. That is just user trained behavior there. So what are a couple other main calls to action, things that they want you to pay attention to? Well, it's your cart. They want you to know how much things you have in your cart, how many, and I can click on it any given time. My cart's empty. And what do they ask me to do again here? Sign into my account or sign up. These are main actions that they want you to take. Now, certainly they want you to shop. Look at all these things. You can tell what they're pushing. Early Black Friday sales. They also have Prime Video. Guess what? You only get this if you are what? A Prime member. So one of the things they're always going to be pushing is a Prime membership. But look at the site itself. They've got things broken down by deals where you can save. Early Black Friday. Of course, it's a big deal for Amazon, again, being as big as they are. But how does your website, how does your social media reflect a little bit of what Amazon's doing here? You think they're good at what they do? They have very clear calls to action. They are highlighting their sales very, very loudly. You can see it in their main banner. They use sliders here. I'm not a big fan of sliders, but it makes sense for Amazon because they have so much stuff. But look at all the different things they have. And then, of course, they're sliding in Prime memberships. They want you to be an Amazon Prime member. That's one of the ways they make your money because they know once you're a Prime member, you are expected to spend X amount of money more than the average casual user, right? If you're a Prime member, you're going to spend more on Amazon. They know that math. They've done that math. Now, back here, again, this kind of speaks back to one of the early things we were talking about. Number one was have a plan. What do you think their plan is? They have these deals set up well ahead of time. And Amazon even does it by the minute and by the hour, especially on Black Friday. And as they come into the holidays, they have FOMO, right? They have fear of missing out on items because they'll have a limited stock, and they will show you this deal only lasts for X amount of more minutes. If we click into some of these, you'll see how they're marketing these. Let's go to headphones. It's not just one headphone. Look at the rabbit hole they're taking you down. People will browse on here for hours and say, oh, little Billy could use these. Marie could use these. Tom could use these. I could get these for the boss at work. Recommended items than other deals that they have. But you are in the Black Friday interface now. It is all here, and they are pushing it hard. So it's very, very clear once you're here what they want you to do. I mean, look how many there are, and there are several pages even here. So what are you doing to mimic a little bit of what the big boys are doing? Success leaves clues, and Amazon is a prime example of what works really, really well. And it's very clear what they're asking you to do. One of the other neat things to kind of pay attention to when you're on these big sites here, when you're really looking at them strategically and analytically, the search bar is omnipresent, right? These are ubiquitous. What's going on up here at their header? This is the same on virtually every page. So at any given point, they know that I'm going to want to sign in or do something with my account, or that I can check my cart and actually check out. So if I start adding things to my account and to my cart, that's a subscription I can set up now. Now I can go to my cart. I can proceed to check out, or I go back to browsing. But at any given point, now I'm in here, they're going to keep updating me with my cart and what's in there. That's the action they want me to take, is to actually finish a purchase. So that's why they're going to have my counter up there. And that will be on every single page, that at any given point, once that decision is made in my mind that I'm ready to go, all I have to do is click on cart and check out. So the low hanging fruit for their call to action is to sign in, sign up, and then check out. Those are the three main things they want you to do. Everything else is about occupying the space inside of those things. That is shopping, that is browsing, recommending, saving items, all that other stuff. Yeah, those are important. That's part of the process. But at the end of the day, they need accounts, and then they need you to purchase. And that's what you see Amazon has laid out here. Most online retailers who are good at it these days, of course, are doing the same thing. And we're so used to it these days, but it's amazing how many e-commerce stores you will go to, even ones built off of Shopify or Wix. You're using templates, and then you've gone through and customized them because you watched a video that said you can build a website in 10 minutes. That doesn't mean you should. And that doesn't mean you should go in there and tinker and break everything either. So be very specific about the language that you're using on your calls to action, so that you can define what those two or three things are. What's the low-hanging fruit for engagement? Follow on social. That's a very tier one, very light, very low level of commitment as a call to action. But it can lead to what our ultimate conversion is down the road, which is something like closing a sale or getting a subscription to an email list, right? That's the next commitment, because now they're having to actually put in their personal email address to get information from you so that you can market to them. Our third one might be something like a conversion. So just think of those in tiers. What's our low level commitment? Subscribe, follow me. Next, sign up for my e-newsletter, any kind of coupons, anything that I might send out. Third, actually purchase and convert. And you can do that via a checkout. You can do that via phone, whatever methods those are for you. But think of those in terms of tiers. And then how do we slot our target market, our audiences that we discussed, into each one of those? What's the path, the user path that we're going to take them on to lead to those conversions? Again, you can see how the big boys do it, and that's why you should be doing it too. Success leaves clues. All right, number 4, remove the obstacles. One of the best books in marketing and advertising, and it's true for web design, graphic design too, is called Don't Make Me Think. I can't think of the, ironically, I can't think of the authors right now. You know what? I have it. There we go. Oh yeah, Steve Krug. Don't make me think. Um, one of the key tenets of the book is to remove friction from the process. Everything we have and everything we interact with as a product has a user experience. There's a user experience to the chair you're sitting in right now. There's a user experience to the phone you're using to watch this video. There's a user experience to the computer you're using to watch this video. There's a user experience to the desk that your computer is sitting on to watch this video. Every one of those, whether they've been getting a little thought or a lot of thought, they've been giving some amount of design sense to help hopefully remove friction, which creates a better user experience. Now, something like a chair, you can have a good user experience, you can have a bad user experience. Does it recline? Does it go up and down? Does it swivel? Is it comfortable? They're designed for extended sitting. I think of those stupid metal folding chairs from like high school or the ones at the DMV. It's like they're made for you not to want to sit in them. That's a bad user experience. But maybe it's on purpose because they don't want you sitting there for very long. Other chairs that are designed very well are designed to have you be able to relax in them. They can recline, they can swivel, they can go up and down. You can adjust them. Maybe there's lumbar support. They're more comfortable for you to spend more time in. They're removing friction and pain from the process because they want you to continue to use and recommend their products. How do you do that with your website, with your app, with your social media? Let me give you an example. If you are wanting to give somebody your money or make a purchase, do you want the full story first? Do you want to read the book about that entire product or service before you've actually are able to make your purchase? In some cases, that might be yes. And we call that progressive disclosure in the web design and app world. It's where you don't force anybody down the information rabbit hole. You allow them to kind of discover it on their own. They can determine how much information they want about your product. If I want to read the entire white paper and the book that you wrote about why your cheese is better than, the cheese in Wisconsin, whatever, then great. Make it available for them further on down the line so that they can go deep down that rabbit hole if they want. But that doesn't mean you force them to read that before they can actually make a purchase. So when somebody lands on your website, what's the experience? What's the first thing that they see when they land there? Maybe they were referred to you. Maybe they're referred to your website because they heard how good your sneakers were. Or they heard how good your landscaping business is. Now all they want to do is complete the purchase or reach out to you. Do you make that easy or do you make that hard? Do you place a banner on your homepage that says a very obscure headline about what you do and then says learn more? Or are you very deliberate? The best sneakers you'll ever have, buy now. Which one's easier for a user to experience and to actually take action on? Which ultimately is the conversion that you set that you decided that you wanted. Is your website true to that? Here's the other thing to think about. Is it true to that on mobile? There's two different experiences, and Google treats these things completely differently as well, by the way. How they crawl your site and where the traffic comes from, you need to be looking at how your website experience is set up on desktop, 1920 by 1080 and larger. Responsive systems nowadays, that's what everybody has, right? Everything should work on all sizes. But if I were you, I'd get extremely specific about what the experience is on mobile. Let me show you another example. Let's go back to our friends at Amazon. Now, here's our desktop. They're very specific about what their ask is. We covered this last time, right? How easy is it for me to purchase something on Amazon if I want to? If I went to Amazon and I'm signed in, I'm not going to at the moment, but if I'm signed in, I can do one-click checkout. My account's already set up. So they've got me on past actions that they wanted. I signed up. I created a Prime account because that was just too enticing. I wanted 2-day shipping on most things that I got. Plus, I got all the movie watching and all those bonuses, right? That's only $100 a year or whatever it is now. And I can make one-click checkouts. Now I can even order with my voice. How much friction do you think they removed from that process? How many millions, if not billions of dollars do you think they spent doing research to remove friction from their process? They were very specific about that. So, what can you learn from Amazon? Now let's look at them on mobile. Oh, this is iPad Pro, iPhone 10. I wanted to see it on mobile. That's not mobile. Hmm. You know what I don't have is that's mid tier, no throttling. One of the things you'll notice is how they flex at different sizes. See how the side is scaling as I go up and down in screen size? How it responds to these different screen sizes? Most people are going to be using desktop, or if they on mobile, they go to their app, right? They go to their Amazon app. So they've thought about all of this, and you need to be thinking about the same thing about how your site specifically shows up on mobile as well as desktop, and what are the obstacles that you need to get out of the way. Most of the time, you need to get out of your own way. So when we talk about removing the obstacles, we talk about telling the story the right way, giving the right amount of information at the right time. Amazon doesn't need to give you any backstory here, right? Of course they don't. They're Amazon. Everybody knows who they are. But that doesn't mean you do right away either. You don't have to give the full story. You can give enough to differentiate, and then enough for them to take an action and make that low-hanging fruit, that call to action, always there and easy for them. Oftentimes you'll see what's called like a sticky navigation on some of these sites. I'll show you another example when I say sticky navigation. Okay, so when we're talking about sticky navigation, let's look up at the top here and see how this follows me. See how this top navigation follows me down, so that any moment that I choose, I can make what is their main call to action, what their main ask for me to do is, which is contact. Up here, there's video playing in the background, so it's easy for us to see. But as I scroll down, the whole thing collapses. We have a solid white background, and at any given point, I can choose to take an action here. That's the importance of having your call to action always available. The main thing that you're asking somebody to do, how do you make sure that that button, that action, that request is ubiquitous to your users every time? When that tipping point happens, and it happens for any product that we're using, where you're just like, I've had it with this and I'm done with it, and I'm going to throw it away or give it away, sell it, whatever. It's the same thing on a website. They're either going to get frustrated and leave because they've gone through the steps. If part of your system works and they've gone through part of the steps, but you don't have the ask, which is your call to action, clear, easy, and the process is easy, your forms are easy and short, then they're going to bail. There's too much competition out there for you to get in your own way with too much information and not having the ability for them to be able to take quick action. So remove the obstacles, make it easier on you, make it easier on your users. All right, the fifth thing that we have, one of the most important things you can do leading up to something like Black Friday and the holidays is to engage those past clients. We talked a little bit about this before, and it should be part of your plan, but I can't emphasize enough how important it is this time of year to be re-engaging those that have already given you their trust, those that have already voted for you with their dollars. That is your low-hanging fruit. And if you want to maximize the holiday season, how can you treat them well? What can you do specifically for those clients to get them coming back to you and then referring you? Oh, yeah, Joe has a great landscaping business. I used him all last spring. He did my leaf cleanup. He did my landscaping and my new mulch that I laid out, and he trimmed my lawn, all that kind of stuff at the beginning of the spring. And my lawn looked fantastic the entire year. I almost forgot about it. I didn't think about giving that as a gift to somebody. I didn't think about buying it at a discount for this next spring. What a great opportunity to, again, pave the way for your backlog here in the spring or later on in the winter or the summer or whatever it is. If you're a service business, those customers are there. And if you've done your job well, they are going to easily give you their money again and refer you to others, which is one of the best things that we can do, right? The low hanging fruit isn't just our past clients and how we engage with them. It's also word of mouth, referral, trust. How do we get them involved with us to make them feel like we've done business together and you're now a part of my company's family? I want you to come back. Like you, I value you as a customer. So many times we engage once with a client and then that's just it. Oh, I got what I wanted from you. You bought my sneakers. You hired my service. See ya. And what we're not doing is thinking about lifetime value of each and every client that we have. Now, it doesn't mean everybody's going to stick around and like, oh, I bought one pair of shoes and I'm going to, for the rest of my life, that's all I'm ever going to buy. Or I'm only going to use Joe for my landscaping for the rest of my life. That's all I'm going to do. Never going to try anybody else. There's no guarantees that that's going to be the case. But if you keep them coming back and you keep them happy and you're using word of mouth, asking them to refer, making it easy for them to refer, again, removing friction from any kind of process. We can do that on our emails. We can do that via social. We can do that on our phone calls. A lot of service-based businesses are done face-to-face or at least over the phone. If I request for you to come and mow my lawn, odds are that we've talked. I might have booked a time even online, but I probably had a conversation with you or with one of your employees who came over to mow the lawn. If that interaction was good and you showed up on time, were professional, made the process easy for me, had an easy payment system for me, I'm going to refer you all day, every day to anybody who even talks about needing somebody to mow their lawn because you removed the friction. You made it easy for me to pay you. You knew who your audience was. You've retargeted me. And if you bring that back up to me and you offer me a special for the spring, absolutely, I'm going to get it. Absolutely, I'm going to engage with it. And I'm going to probably tell others about it. I'm going to tell my mom and dad. I'm going to tell my neighbors. So engage those past clients. Engage them on social, sure. I mean, they're going to be part of your sphere now. If you've done your job with your customer relationship management, then they're following you on social, or you at least have their email. You have some kind of way of showing up in their path as they go about their daily internet lives. So you can do that via ads, targeted ads, retargeted ads. You can also do it via your email list, which is one of the most powerful tools that you have. Make special offers for those people, and that should be your base for the entire holiday season. Re-engaging those clients, encouraging them to refer. Think about this when you go to a website or even on Amazon, right? We've been looking at Amazon earlier. Which would you rather buy? A product that has 5 stars and 3 reviews, or a product that has 4 stars and 5,000 reviews? Most people are going to buy the 4-star, 5,000 review product because it has been socially vetted. And now you have what we call social proof. You have testimonial after testimonial after testimonial. It is the digital equivalent of a lot of people saying, yeah, this thing was really good. This product was really good. This service was really good. I would recommend it. Might have been one little thing here and there, but whatever. We're all human. Those mistakes happen. Nobody's perfect. But overall, 4 out of 5 stars would definitely recommend. So how do we encourage our past clients to be making referrals for us, which is that social proof? They can do that for you. You don't have to be Amazon. You don't have to have a big review system set up inside of your website to have people rating your products. It takes a long time to get up to that size. If you are that size, that's great. You can use those. Use a review system. Social proof is powerful. But if you're engaging past clients and they're happy and you encourage them to refer somebody else, not only did you probably regain business from a past client, but also have gained a new one. And now that cycle continues and continues and continues. So when you're going into a week like Black Friday, I would be sending out emails today. Then maybe I'd wait a day and send them out Wednesday. And then I would send one out again Thursday night. And then I would be planning on what I'm going to do over the weekend to inform them about what you can do on Cyber Monday. And here's the other thing, and we're going to talk about this in one of the other videos later on this week. Make your Cyber Monday deals different. Don't make them better than what you did on Black Friday. You're going to have a lot of angry clients if you try to one-up yourself with the same product or service on Monday that you did on Friday because maybe it didn't perform as well as you wanted. Make the deal different. Make the product different. And you might even re-engage some of those people that bought from you on Friday on Monday. So we'll talk about that later on in the week. All right. So I did say we had a bonus tip. One last thing that I want everybody to keep in mind. And we just started to kind of hint at it anyway, but this is it. And that is set follow-ups for Cyber Monday and beyond. Set yourself up for success this week with your targeted email campaigns and social, and be really active and engaging. Make sure you're responding to comments and questions. Be involved and engage those past customers. Encourage referrals. Have your plan and actually execute and follow through. Doing something every day. But what is the plan beyond? We talked a little bit about this earlier. Setting yourself up for success in the spring, throughout the holidays as well, but also in the spring and in the summer. You can take advantage of people's willingness to buy now. They're in a buying mode. It's like rolling a snowball down a hill this time of year. They're just purchase. I need to buy this for Jim. I need to buy this for Kathy, my mom and dad, my kids, my aunts, my nieces. They are in a habit of purchasing and giving out money right now. So how do you take advantage of that and set yourself up for not just the holiday season, but for the rest of the year? So think about it this way. Black Friday is coming at the end of this week. You've gone through all the steps we've talked about so far. You've set yourself up for success. You've maximized your website, your calls to action. You're using plain language. You're talking to the right people at the right time. You've set everything up for Friday. Now, how do you keep that momentum going? What different deals? Apply the same formula on Monday. Apply the same formula for the next 3-4 weeks after Monday, leading into up until Christmas. What's your post-Christmas special? What are you doing between Christmas and New Year's? And then what's your New Year's special? And then you can start to taper off and really get into your status quo for the year. But this is that momentum carries all the way through the beginning of the year. So how do you take advantage not just of this one special on Friday, but throughout the weekend, then into Monday? Again, take your inspiration. What is Amazon going to do? Watch what they do on Cyber Monday. Watch what they do for the week after. They're going to switch right into holiday mode and specials. And they'll do them with, again, fear of missing out. They'll do them with timed specials or limited quantities. And they'll run that stuff all the way up through the end of the year. Post-Christmas, just starting on Christmas Day and December 26th, they're going to have post-holiday specials. And then they will have New Year's discounts. And then you'll see they'll settle back into a little bit more of a normal, and they'll go back to their normal discounts and things. Set your plan up, not just for Friday, but for beyond. And if you have this kind of strategy moving all the way through, and you keep this cycling, you will notice how your base builds up. You don't have to just look at, I have to just crush it just on Friday. If my Black Friday sales aren't 60% more than they were last year, then this is a total and epic failure. You don't have to look at it that way. You can scale things up to Friday. Try to do as well as you can. Don't kill yourself doing it. Don't give away the farm doing it. Make the right discounts on the right products to the right people, but then use that momentum to take you through the holidays and into next year. All right, that's what we had for today. As I said at the top of the stream here, we're going to try to do these for the next 4 days, 3 days now. So today's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday to do live streams in the evenings to get you set up. I want to do some Q&A. If we get enough people in here, we'll take them offline as well. You can send emails to inquiries@bobbysweb.com. And I will try to make those part of the stream so that we can get people set up for success for Friday and Cyber Monday and beyond. But let me know in the comments down below what you did to set yourself up for success this week, what steps you're taking to define your audiences, what CTA changes you've made on your website or your app, what specials you're offering on your site, and put your site in, put your URL in there so that other viewers and users and viewers can go and check out what you're offering. Share the love for everybody. All right, don't forget to subscribe and turn on those notifications. That way you'll know when the next live streams are coming out. Thanks everybody for being in here and hanging out.